Today I want to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, I want to talk about SGA. That would be one Shavante Asian Gilgeous-Alexander. That's 26 letters in his name. And for those of you that are keeping score, Howard Schnellenberger's name had 22. And I wrote down some interesting facts that I found about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because I thought it was interesting, one, that Presti could get this guy in the trade with Paul George. And I'm past the anger stage of all of this, and I'm on to, actually, this could be a fun team. It could be really fun if a couple of things fall into place, but I want to talk about those things in relation to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because all indications are this is going to be his team to run, at least at the point guard position. We'll see about who the leaders are on the team, even if Steven Adams is on this team to start. And I think that it's going to be, I think it could be fun. So a few things to know about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number one is the dude's parents, they're athletes. His mom was a track athlete out of Antigua. His dad coached youth basketball. He's from Canada. He went to Tennessee to get more experience and to basically end up at Kentucky. Now, he ends up at Kentucky and he plays in this all-freshman lineup that was actually really good and included P.J. Washington, Kevin Knox, and of course, Hamidou Diallo. So I'm really interested to see how that partnership works out. And now that I think about it, and I don't think we've had time to process this with Russ being traded, with Jeremy Grant being traded, with Paul George being traded all in the same week, you could have a starting lineup that features SGA, Hamidou Diallo, Darius Bazley, Terrence Ferguson, and Steven Adams. Now, I know that there's some moving pieces around in there, and Bazley is a wing. He could play the 2, he could play the 3, and we need Diallo to get better at shooting and not just win slam dunk competitions, as much fun as that was. This could be a fun team to watch. I'm not certain that it's a team that actually tanks to the floor that you need to tank to get those picks into the lottery, but 12 to 14, totally within reason. Getting into the 1 to 4 range, that would mean having a really bad basketball team, and I think that's going to test the casual fan. Like, there's lots of diehard Thunder fans in this state. Many of them have aliases on Twitter where they don't use their real names, and they understand that they get to throw stuff against the wall, but the emotion around Russell Westbrook being traded to Houston is real. Whether or not I agree with it is not, it's not the point. Anytime you can inspire that kind of passion and appreciation in others, that is to be respected among all things, and I think we should all strive for that. But one of the other things I want to point out about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the court is he's actually really good from beyond the arc as well. He shot 36.7% from three-point range, and he's silky smooth getting to the basket. He can get to the basket whenever he wants, but if he can become the kind of off-the-dribble shooter that I think he can be, then you're just going to have to pick your poison about how you want to guard him. Because right now, it feels like if he catches and shoots the ball, he's going to knock it down. If you make him create his own shot behind the arc, it's going to be more of a problem. So kind of like the way that Giannis Antetokounmpo was basically guarded all of last season and into the postseason, it was, hey, we're going to sag and we're going to make Giannis shoot that jumper. And in shooting that jumper, you saw what Toronto was able to do to neutralize him. Now, what's really cool is, and I wrote this down, that man is actually, SGA, is actually better at the mid-range game than Russ Westbrook was. Matter of fact, this was interesting. 2 quarters, right? He shot 43.6% between 16 feet and 23 feet. Russ Westbrook, who at times was a mid-range king, only shot 35.8% for last season and only went above 43.6% only once in his career from the mid-range. So whenever you would see him streaking down the court with that breakneck fashion that he is known for and pull up from the elbow and rim out, that shot was more likely to go in if SGA took that shot. Now, a lot of that has to do with Russell Westbrook's shooting woes over the last couple of seasons, and we all know that his free throw shooting percentage went from about 85 to 73 to 66 last year is real bad, is really bad. But again, you're not necessarily getting an upgrade because who's going to replace an MVP and an all-NBA point guard? And we all know that, yes, Russell Westbrook is one of the best point guards to ever play this game, even as I have my own thoughts about him and the way that he carries himself. Still, the things that he's done philanthropically cannot be overshadowed, and I am really happy about that because, yes, I don't think he embraced the state in the way that I would have wanted him to embrace the state, but he did it his way, and that is peak Russell Westbrook. That is the guy wearing the 0. SGA, as a 9th grader, did not make St. Thomas More's junior team. He played on it, and this is their word, midget team, which is like the junior varsity. And that's a 6'6", 181-pound guard, which means that he's done a lot of growing over the last few years. Also, 6'6" guard with a 6'9" wing in Darius Baisley, to say nothing of what Diallo could turn into. That's really cool. And I mentioned his mom, but I should have mentioned, along with her running for Antigua and Barbuda, she was in the 92 Olympics. No big deal there. And I also wanted to make sure that I got into this video that the man ended the season scoring 20 points or more in 4 of the last 7 games, and also scoring in double figures in 17 of 20 games over the 2018-19 season, which was his rookie season. There's a lot of people that are very high on the ceiling for what SGA could be, and I think his demeanor is really going to fit in well with the culture that Sam Presti has built. Now, aside from how I feel about how Sam Presti has built his culture, it is a really good culture for young players. We know that to be true. This is a nice incubator. And it might be the best incubator in the history of the NBA if we go back to this team being moved to Oklahoma City. Not just the way that Presti's drafted, but the guys that he's drafted that turned into players, turned into absolute players. Now, throw Mitch McGary out of there, and I remember Mitch McGary. You could also have some feelings about Alex Abrines. You could also have some feelings about Abdel Nader, Cam Payne. We can keep going. But the guys who turn into players absolutely turn into players. There's feast or famine over here at Oklahoma City. And it seems like SGA, coming off his rookie year in LA, moving to a smaller market, he's a soft-spoken kind of guy, but he is a serious kind of guy. He's a confident kind of guy. Watch this interview with Jonathan Givony over at Draft Express, and he was real critical of himself in 2 ways that I thought were interesting, and 2 ways to watch him play throughout the season. One, he wanted to be a better catch-and-shoot shooter, like I told you. He also believes in his heart of hearts that he is a point guard. He is not a combo guard. He's the guy bringing the ball up the floor and initiating the offense, and he could be a better on-ball defender. His help defense is actually pretty good. But when you're talking about just taking away the other team's best point scorer. My goodness, words are hard. Then you got to talk about SGA and getting better in that way. But, man, he's going to be out in front on fast breaks. He's going to get steals. He has the length to block shots. He could be a two-way player that you come to know and love. I wanted to point those things out and talk about what this is going to look like for him because I thought it was important. And I really am kind of interested in seeing what this young team can do. If they win 35 games, I think we should all be kind of happy about that. But if they win 35 games, probably not going to be a high lottery team. But that ball breaks however that ball breaks. We all thought the Knicks were shoes in to get the number 1 overall pick, and then here came the Pelicans, right? So getting into the lottery, I think that's just going to be in the Thunder's future. Whether or not they play hard is something else entirely, and I think if they play hard, they're going to keep us around watching them because you want to root for people that play hard. You want to root for people that hustle, and you want to root for people that are on your team. All right, that's it for me. Doses.